Look at the sheer density and velocity of modern real estate development in a market like Dubai. Yet beneath the immense completed value of these skylines lies a structural flaw in how these multi-million-dollar assets are actually brought to market. Developers pour billions of dollars into advanced engineering and materials, but then rely on an archaic communication model to connect with global buyers. The physical architecture is highly advanced, but the market itself runs on a fragile, human-bottlenecked system that jeopardizes sales. This information handoff is a strict linear sequence, from the developer to the agency, broker, and finally the buyer. This straight line creates massive time friction. Briefing a network of brokers on a new project can take a full month. As complex facts pass through each intermediary, you get a multi-million-dollar game of telephone. Details warp, data degrades. By the time the pitch reaches the buyer, the developer's intent is lost. That friction kills the sale. When billion-dollar timelines are stretched by month-long delays and inaccurate data, the old linear system becomes a direct financial liability. The physics of manual handoffs are now a threat to the developer's bottom line. The solution requires dismantling that linear chain entirely and replacing it with a centralized AI intelligence layer. This centralized hub acts as an unyielding, unbiased single source of truth, logging in and retaining the exact intent of the developer. The developer who used to take a month to brief 200 brokers will now brief every broker simultaneously. The broker who used to know 3 projects well will know every project perfectly. The platform serves as a back-end infrastructural layer that eliminates data degradation, rather than a front-end sales gimmick. This central intelligence also rewires the final interaction with the buyer by eliminating the physical limits of human agents. The platform operates endlessly without fatigue, answering spontaneous, unstructured questions across global time zones in Arabic, Hindi, Russian, and hundreds of other languages. It acts as a hyper-personalized sales co-pilot, generating highly specific talking points for brokers in real time. For instance, it crafts a precise 5-minute pitch focusing on architectural design for one spouse, while detailing strict ROI metrics for the finance-minded spouse. Generating interactive digital sales links, these AI personas can hold an infinite number of these tailored conversations simultaneously, always operating at the buyer's pace. Removing human constraints of geography, language, and cognitive load allows the scale of real estate sales to reach its full market potential. Pitching properties is only half of the system's value. The true power lies in its ability to listen to the market. Instead of delayed broker feedback, developers receive unfiltered, real-time market signals as buyer queries are mapped instantly. This reveals highly granular insights, like gaps in project briefings, or exactly which unit features buyers are checking at 11 p.m. Armed with this continuous stream of raw intelligence, brokers can follow up with absolute precision, stripping the guesswork out of the sales process. Every micro-interaction and awkward buyer question is captured and converted directly into actionable, structural data. In 1861, the legendary Pony Express was permanently shut down just 18 months after the transcontinental telegraph was finally completed. As the underlying mechanics of communication advance, the real estate market's era of manual, human-to-human information handoffs faces a similar terminus. This frictionless system bridges a decades-old trust gap, bringing developers, agents, and global buyers into perfect alignment for the first time. This frictionless flow of information dictates how property is sold and provides the data used to design tomorrow's global skylines.
What you do and
Sure.
get to it.
Yeah, I'm Aryaman Maheshwari, co-founder of Rechitta. Yes, and my background is basically I've worked in Microsoft and Google before this, and I'm a computer science graduate from IIT Roorkee.
IIT Roorkee.
Yeah.
And you?
Hi, I'm Atiksh Mittal. I'm 19 years old. I'm a high school graduate, of course, and I'm also co-founder at Rechitta.
And both of you wear your co-founder tags very, very proudly, I'm
Very
guessing. Okay, my question to you is, how are you different from the others in the space? Because AI, everyone is leveraging AI in some shape or form. There are a lot of very, very well-funded startups as well doing this. So what sets you apart?
So there are two things which I would like to add over here. One is most of the companies are going with horizontal scaled AI. What I mean by horizontal is that they are creating a general expert of the whole field. Even if you talk about real estate, it's not a small field. There are a lot of different niches which needs expert of their own. Just like we have experts in the world today about particular thing, we are building an expert of communication and we are building an expert of clarity in the off-plan market of real estate. It's a very niche and vertical AI instead of an horizontal AI. So that's one of the key differences between a generic AI platform or a listing searching platform and between us, because we talk very like the model works on one building and one building itself.
And you will also see a difference in the way we interact with people. It is a two-way communication, but it's not always requiring the user to say something or prompt it. It does the presentation itself. It carries out the entire thing. It communicates everything it wants to, regardless of if you're talking to it or not. And then it also answers your questions. It also lets you interrupt.
Yeah. The idea is that when the stake is so big, when you're talking about millions of dirhams of investments of people, you don't want to talk to a chatbot. not because it's an old thing or something. It's because you need much more information at every second to process. You are very thirsty for information. It just cannot be a chatbot or a call, which happens when a broker also comes to you. He will show you things around. He will try to show you some photos. That's important for us to understand a particular thing properly, because as we all know, we are more visually inclined beings. What Rechitta solves for is this. It becomes the audio-visual layer. It creates a seamless proposition between showing you things and talking to you while clarifying things to you. And it's an absolutely important integral part when it comes to information from somebody who has created that building to you, because there's a lot of middle layers which are going on.
Right. My last question, how do you see this evolve, especially in current market situations and conditions? Because there is currently a little uncertainty in the market. So how do you see it evolving when you've launched it in such a market?
Yes. I guess it is an important aspect, because as we see around us, even in this uncertainty of circumstances, the market is still truly working, and for them to work out in the comforts of their home is one of the things which we provide as well, right? Yeah. So we are the Zoom in the era of COVID.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, like one more big factor in this is efficiencies don't need to worry about situations.
Real estate operations are shifting, starting with the public debut of the Rechitta AI platform in Dubai. The city serves as a high-velocity launchpad, with 40,000 licensed brokers managing project volume for buyers from over 150 countries. The platform targets a specific structural vulnerability, the information handoff. Currently, clarity is lost as information trickles from developers to agencies, then to brokers, and finally to buyers. Rechitta replaces this sequential chain with a single source of truth, communicating with all parties simultaneously to prevent data distortion. This allows a developer to brief the entire market with the same level of accuracy once reserved for a small internal team, altering the basic mechanics of how project data moves. For brokers, the platform functions as a high-capacity sales co-pilot, capable of managing numerous interactions at once. It remains available 24/7, supporting agents in hundreds of languages, including Arabic, Hindi, and Russian, for off-hours client preparation. The system processes unstructured or spontaneous questions that go beyond the static information found on standard developer FAQ sheets. It provides real-time, specific talking points for different buyer profiles, such as a 5-minute pitch tailored for a design-focused client versus a finance-minded partner. Through interactive AI sales links, the platform generates digital personas that hold simultaneous conversations with prospective buyers at their own pace. Brokers are no longer limited by their own recall or schedule. They can provide detailed project representation to any buyer at any time. For the developer, the platform shifts from a sales tool to a back-end analytics engine. It replaces delayed end-of-month performance reports with real-time market signals. Developers can see exactly which units generate the most interest, identify gaps in their initial briefings, and track specific features buyers are researching at 11 p.m. When the Transcontinental Telegraph was completed in 1861, the Pony Express was shut down within 18 months. The underlying speed of communication had changed. Rechitta applies that same shift to real estate, introducing a standard where project data can be distributed at scale without the friction of manual handoffs.
So my name is Ashirwad. I'm originally a finance background, and I've been in Dubai real estate market for the last 17 to 18 years. That's been my bread and butter for the last 18 years. So I've always, and I've been finance technology kind of a guy from the beginning when I was in jobs. So for me, the perfect position is to be where finance, real estate, and technology meets.
Right. You know, Rechitta is quite interesting. I saw the presentation. It was very fun. It was interesting because you heard her answer questions to the press in different languages. But I want to understand one aspect of it. It spoke a lot about emotional intelligence and reducing the layer of the middleman. But I want to understand, how does it balance this out in terms of, when you talk about the human in the loop in any AI system, how does that work? Because it's key. It's becoming equally important, right? So I want to get a sense of that.
So every AI is fed something, right? Even the LLMs that we use have trained themselves on so much knowledge. That origination of that knowledge was humans. That knowledge did not originate in AI. We gave it a lot of knowledge, and it performed that knowledge very well. Now, every developer's project is a new knowledge, right? So you cannot remove that human to put that knowledge into Rechitta. Similarly, every client's requirement and needs is a human knowledge that needs to be put into Rechitta. But it does very well once you give that information, right? So once you have a project, which is everything that a developer wants to create, and once you have a broker who has spoken to a client and understood the entire need system of the client and knows the client on a personal human level, can input that into Rechitta, and what will come out is going to be Rechitta taking on the heavy lifting. Right. So we are basically saying that Rechitta will take off the heavy lifting, the repetitive nature. Now imagine I am a project sales manager. I have to brief a project. I will brief it to you. Then I'm going to do the same briefing with somebody. Of course, you will have different questions. Somebody else will have different questions. That's why there is a human required. The PDF will not do the job. But when I deploy Rechitta to do it, it can answer you, it can answer the other person, it can answer the third person, and it can do it tirelessly 24/7 in any language. So that's the power of AI, which I can use. Now, once you've taken that briefing, once you've understood the product, you will use the product also for your benefit. So that's how we have kind of brought in Rechitta to help humans.
Right. I want to understand another thing. There are a lot of proptech platforms looking at AI right now, building AI systems right now to make it easier for all layers, whether it's broker, whether it's developer, or whether it's me, if I ever buy a property here. It's for all of us, right? So how does Rechitta stand out, and what is the key differentiator in that terms?
So Rechitta is coming from a very, very different angle to it from first, I can tell you that. So everybody is trying to filter information through AI. Right? So you can go to a property search, ask the AI, this is my need, can you search a property? Now, that is filtering of information. Rechitta is coming from the source of truth, meaning the developer creates and imagines a product and creates a product and puts that in Rechitta. And Rechitta carries that through. It's very different from a search engine, right? And I think so far, whatever competition and whatever people we have seen tackling is search.
Okay.
So we don't. I'm sure around the world everybody's thinking of what to do next with AI. We are solving a real distribution communication problem, which is very different from search.
Right. Okay. My last question. I know it's early days, but what do you expect in the near future from Rechitta, and what kind of growth do you anticipate?
So Rechitta, this is the tip of the iceberg, honestly speaking. So across the real estate industry, so if you see this particular problem that we are solving is a primary real estate problem. That means the developer going into the market problem. That's only one small problem. Also, what about selling your house, selling my house? How does AI help me? Rechitta will, in the future, extend itself to help every seller.
Great.
Rechitta will also go to different geographies. Rechitta will also tackle deeper layer of things into real estate systems. But real estate seller and real estate buyer and all the communication layers in between, this is where Rechitta sits. It's not going to go into construction, solving. There's a lot to be done on AI on that also. Rechitta exists for creating the knowledge base for sales and communication.